You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't kick on the mic. You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't kick on the mic. You can go and subscribe, cause I be on it right. You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't kick on the mic.
What? Why would the Chicago Bears do this? Hey, what's going on, Bears fans? Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Keek on the Mic, the podcast all about the Chicago Bears. As always, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the bell notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. First and foremost, Bears fans, I want to congratulate the Kansas City Chiefs on winning Super Bowl 58. They are officially back-to-back Super Bowl champions. Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Andy Reid, they're all amazing. What they were able to build over there in Kansas City is truly special. They are officially a dynasty. So once again, huge congratulations to the Kansas City Chiefs. And that officially means that the Chicago Bears are now on the clock. They hold the number 1 overall pick in the 2024 NFL draft. And as we've been talking, there's going to be a whole lot of smoke screens coming at us during this offseason as we get ever closer to the 2024 NFL draft. And before the Super Bowl, Adam Schefter, Rex Ryan, Teddy Bruschi were all talking about the Chicago Bears and the number 1 overall pick situation. And they were discussing the many options the Chicago Bears can actually do. And I believe it was Rex Ryan or Teddy Bruschi brought up the idea of staying at number 1 and selecting quarterback Caleb Williams, but still keeping quarterback Justin Fields. And I know on the table, a lot of people are like, well, there's no way that actually happens. And then Adam Schefter has said, actually, there is a possibility because the Chicago Bears have actually discussed the idea of drafting Caleb Williams at the number 1 overall pick in the 2024 NFL draft and keeping Justin Fields. Check this out, Bears fans.
The Bears did. They have talked about the idea, as unlikely as it seems, of carrying both quarterbacks, taking the guy at 1 and keeping Fields. Now, will they get to that? It's hard to imagine that, but that is a conversation that's come up within the organization.
Well, you know, it's funny. The Dallas Cowboys actually did that.
Yeah, Steve Walsh and Troy
Aikman. So we've seen it done before. And the thing that's crazy, though, is, look, what you hear outside is this is the closest thing, prospect, to Patrick Mahomes that we've ever seen. Now, if that's the case, like, please don't say it's Bryce Young. Compare this guy to Bryce Young.
Yeah, to me,
if this is the case right here, look, this thing could be, I mean, 5-6 first-round picks would it be worth it if you can get a Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah,
so to me, we're going to find out all about this.
Now we are entering smokescreen season, okay, by these teams, and there's no way they keep Caleb Williams and they also have Justin Fields on the roster. That's just my own personal opinion. Something is happening here. A trade is going to be worked. Fields is moved, or they're taking Caleb's number 1. There's no way. That's smokescreen all over the place.
No, it's not smokescreen. They've talked about it. I'm not telling you they're doing it, but they've talked about it. That's not a smokescreen. That's a fact.
Bears fans, I know this sounds really crazy. When I first heard this, I was like, why would Ryan Poles and the Chicago Bears even consider this option? But at the same time, I think every option is on the table. Realistically, I think it goes one way or the other. It's either you keep quarterback Justin Fields and trade the number 1 overall pick for a massive haul, draft Marvin Harrison Jr., or you stay at the number 1 overall pick, select quarterback Caleb Williams out of USC, and trade Justin Fields to the best suitor that can give you possibly the most compensation for quarterback Justin Fields. But to me, this is an interesting conversation piece right here on the podcast. And I think there's only one thing that really makes sense. I was actually scrolling through Twitter and trying to find pieces of information on why the Chicago Bears and Ryan Poles would even consider this option. And someone actually posted this on Twitter that I wanted to bring up on the podcast today. They said this: Ryan Poles was the director of college scouting when KC drafted Mahomes and had Alex Smith, and Ian Cunningham was assistant director of player personnel when the Eagles drafted Jalen Hurts when they had Carson Wentz. He said, could this be posturing to increase trade comp? Yes, but I think anything is possible. And this tweet came from Clay Harbor, and Clay Harbor is absolutely right. When you look at Ryan Poles and both Ian Cunningham's situation where they came from with the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles, they both have experience of drafting a quarterback, a young rookie quarterback, when they already had a quarterback in place. And now look at the Kansas City Chiefs. Look at where they're at now. They are officially a dynasty. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes ended up in a really good situation. He got to sit behind Alex Smith for a whole year and learn the game, learn how to play the quarterback position. And same thing with the Carson Wentz and Jalen Hurts situation. Jalen Hurts wasn't forced into the situation. Same with Patrick Mahomes. So maybe Ryan Poles, maybe Ian Cunningham, maybe the Chicago Bears are trying to repeat that same cycle, because once again, nothing has worked in Chicago in terms of developing the quarterback, because we forced the rookie quarterback to play right away. Even though Caleb Williams would be the #1 overall pick, even though Caleb Williams is viewed as this generational talent, doesn't mean that he's ready to play right away, right? So for the most part, it's a crazy idea. Do I think it's actually going to happen? Possibly not, but it's definitely a intriguing situation to monitor because Ryan Poles and Ian Cunningham have been in situations before with Kansas City, with Philadelphia Eagles, respectively, of doing this exact same thing. So don't count this out whatsoever. And once again, Bears fans, I already know what you guys are going to say. Well, Keek, this is smokescreen season. You can't believe everything that you hear. But Adam Schefter came out and said, no, this is something that the Chicago Bears have already discussed. At this point, we just have to understand that anything is on the table for the Chicago Bears. I think at this point, Ryan Poles is just in a difficult situation in terms of what he actually wants to do with the #1 overall pick. And once again, I feel like it is a win-win situation, either direction that you go in. But maybe Ryan Poles is thinking, well, maybe we could just have the best of both worlds. You keep quarterback Justin Fields and you let Justin Fields be the starting quarterback, and you still draft Caleb Williams and let him sit behind quarterback Justin Fields and just learn how to play the quarterback position. Let Justin Fields be a mentor, and maybe also light and fire under Justin Fields' ass as well, because he knows that he has a young rookie quarterback right behind him, right? So I know it sounds crazy. It really, really does. When I heard this as well, I'm like, why would the Chicago Bears do it? But I also think at the end of the day, Ryan Poles is just trying to do his due diligence and try to keep every option on the table. Once again, Bears fans, I don't think this is actually going to happen. I don't think Ryan Poles and the Chicago Bears will actually do this, for the simple fact that if you do bring in Caleb Williams, right, it makes no sense to keep quarterback Justin Fields. So it goes both ways, because if you bring in a guy like Caleb Williams, why wouldn't you explore the idea of trying to get some compensation for Justin Fields, especially if a team is willing to give up a first-round pick for Justin Fields? And when you draft a quarterback at #1 overall, especially a quarterback like Caleb Williams, people that view him as generational, that means he's probably going to be ready to play right away, or the Chicago Bears organization is going to want Caleb Williams to play right away. But once again, anything is always on the table. I think this will be a crazy development for the Chicago Bears. It would definitely be an interesting storyline if Ryan Poles and the Chicago Bears actually did something like this. But until then, this is just smokescreen, right? I know Adam Schefter is a reliable source within the National Football League, but until it happens, this is just a smokescreen leading up to the NFL draft. But this would be an intriguing storyline in Chicago if Ryan Poles and Chicago Bears actually did this. But overall, Bears fans, before I let you guys go, let me ask you guys this. If Ryan Poles and the Chicago Bears stayed at the #1 overall pick and drafted Caleb Williams, but kept Justin Fields on the roster, what would be your initial reaction? Let me know down below in the comment section. But all in all, make sure you continue to hit that subscribe button and the notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. Make sure you follow me on all my social media platforms, and make sure you share this episode of Geek on the Mic with every single Bears fan that you know. Better than that, be back for all new Bears podcasts right here on Geek on the Mic. Thanks, guys, and as always, bear down.
You've been listening to Geek on the Mic, a podcast all about the Chicago Bears. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. Thanks, guys, and bear down.